Hi there, this is Gary Reynolds from Runner's Paradise, and today I'm just going to briefly walk you through the Runner's Paradise custom training plan. I'm going to show you how you can view your training schedule, how you can enter notes on your training so you can provide feedback to your coach, and also how your coach can provide feedback to you as well so your progress is monitored on a regular basis. So I'd like to introduce you to John Doe. John Doe is our fictitious runner for the purposes of this demo, and John is going to be running the Small Town 10K on the 9th of March 2014. His planned start date is the 6th of January. The plan was prepared by me, Gary Reynolds, and also at the bottom of this page as well we've got a link to this video, so if you need a refresher in the future then you can go to this location and the video will be there waiting for you. So let's find out a little bit more about John. On the Goals and Objectives tab, what we'll find is a little bit about John Doe and also the objectives for the plan itself. So we can see that John is a 28-year-old casual runner. He's been running around 3 times per week for the past 6 months, so he has a reasonable running base. He currently runs about 3 miles on each run, and all his runs are done at the same steady pace. John has never been injured. He's looking to compete in the Small Town 10K on the 9th of March, and his goal is to complete the race in as close to 50 minutes as he can. He's happy with anything under 1 hour. And then beyond that, John wants to continue competing in some 10Ks and also is considering moving up to half marathon distance as well. We can also see that John has recently completed the Runner's Paradise online running technique course. So we have good confidence that he has a good appreciation for what constitutes good running technique, has practiced the drills and exercises in the running technique course and can apply those to his day-to-day running. In terms of objectives, there's 2 primary objectives for John's plan. We want to prepare him for the Small Town 10K through a structured training plan that gets him running 4 times per week and also includes some strength and conditioning training to support his work. And we want to build upon his existing running base so he can increase his endurance and start to gradually build up for preparation for a half marathon distance race. We're going to provide strength training for John via 2 mechanisms. One is going to be the Runner's Paradise online strength training program, and we're also going to supplement that with some face-to-face core training sessions as well to answer any questions that John may have and to make sure that he's along the right lines. So let me just walk you through some of the other tabs at the bottom of the training plan here. On the race results page, we can see that John has 1 race listed at the moment, which is his 10K on the 9th of March. If John decides to stay and continue to be coached by Runner's Paradise over a period of time, we'll expect to see further 10K races in here alongside his half marathon race or races. We've got the ability to record the distance, the event name, the time that it took John to complete the race, the position that he came within the field, and also the ability for him or the coach to enter some notes on the race itself as well. So in there we will consider things like lessons learned during the race in terms of fueling, race strategy, recovery post-race, all of those kinds of things. On the next tab, which is the mileage tab, we've essentially just got a graph which shows the prescribed mileage according to the plan and the actual mileage that the person being coached is covering on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. What this gives us is it gives the person being coached a very easy mechanism of seeing the progress that they're making, and it also gives the coach as well some early warning indicators. So in this particular instance we can see that the actual mileage has started to tail off at a point where it should be gradually increasing. So immediately that's a warning to the coach to say that there's something here that needs to be discussed and addressed. Now I'm going to come back to the training schedule and the training notes and the coaching summary in a minute. And first of all, I'm going to skip to the supplementary information towards the end of the training plan. let's take a look at the training session information. So depending on the distance that's been covered and the type of training that's being prescribed, the coach at Runners Paradise is going to ask the person being coached to complete one or more different types of training activity. So for instance, we've got the long slow distance run, progression runs, steady runs, recovery runs, strides, fartleks, intervals, hill training, reverse hills, which is just downhill, the tempo run, cross training, functional strength training, and rest. So those are the main activities that your coach is going to ask you to perform, and this gives you a brief outline of what each of those types of training session should look and feel like. If we move on to the Training Paces tab, this is essentially asking the question, how fast should you be running for each of your individual training sessions? And one of the things that I want to draw your attention to here is that any values that you see on this page are related to your current training paces. So your training paces in the past may have been slower, and your training paces in the future may be faster, but this is what we're currently asking you to achieve in terms of your minutes per mile or your rate of perceived exertion. So what is rate of perceived exertion? Well, essentially it's a way of measuring how hard a particular session feels within yourself, rather than worrying about the minutes per mile or the distance or the pace that you're covering. So at Runners Paradise we use a 4-point scale for rate of perceived exertion. We've got easy, medium, hard and very hard. And then down towards the bottom of this page we can see what the rate of perceived exertion should feel like. So for example, if your coach is asking you to do an easy session, then that means that you should be running at an easy conversational pace, and it sort of feels like about a 6 to 7 out of 10 in terms of effort. So for example, your long slow distance runs will be run at an easy pace. If you're doing a tempo run, for example, then that's likely to feel like a hard session. So it feels like an 8 to an 8.5 out of a 10. So if you're asked to do a particular session and there's no information in the pace minutes per mile column, then we ask you to run by rate of perceived exertion, and this will also appear in your training schedule as well for easy reference. And on the final tab we've got some links and resources to sort of keep you going, if you like, and to give you some easy reference points. So we have the support email address. So all of our training plans come with free email support, so if you've got a question, you need to ask anything, then just use that email address and get in touch with us. We've got our blog address here, which provides you free training information via our blog, so we've got specific articles covering specific topics. We've also got links to our Twitter and Facebook accounts should you wish to follow us through the social media. And then below this we've got some links to useful information that we think you could benefit from reading and applying alongside your custom training plan. So we have some information on the Runners Paradise Strength Training Programme, some information on our online running technique course, some basic advice on injury prevention, and obviously your coach can supplement that with information that's specific to you throughout the duration of your plan. And also some information related to race day preparation. So this is just some hints and tips to make the race day itself go as smoothly as possible. Again, if you've got any concerns or questions, then your coach will be able to help you. And at the top as well, we also have some information on an upcoming publication from us related to nutrition, fueling and recovery. So this is just going to be a quick start guide which will help you to think more about how you're going to fuel your races, how you're going to help your body recover between training sessions by eating the right kinds of foods, etc. Obviously your coach can advise you at any point on any of these aspects as well, should you wish to get in contact with them. So let's take a look at John Doe's training schedule. Okay, so this is what the main training schedule page looks like. So we have a week start column down at the left hand side, and then also two columns related to mileage. So the prescribed miles column will be completed by your coach as part of generating the training plan itself. And the actual miles column is designed to be completed by you. So all you do is you add up the total mileage that you've run in the week, you put the final figure in that column, and then as a result of that, the mileage graph will be updated accordingly, so you can see how your mileage is progressing day to day, week to week. So if we just pop back to the training schedule, beyond that we've got a column which describes the activity that you'll be asked to do. So this will either be a running activity, an element of cross-training, which may either just be you're going to cross-train and then you choose the type of cross-training that you're going to do, or it may be a specific prescribed type of cross-training. And the same applies to the strength training as well. So depending on the type of custom training plan you've taken out, we may just say to you, yes, do some strength training. You may have your own strength training program that you follow, or we may be prescribing a specific strength training program for you. And the rest of the plan is made up of 3 columns for each day of the week. So if we scroll across, we can see we've got Monday through to Sunday. And on those particular days, we have got the prescribed activity for that day. So we can see, for example, that on the 6th of January, that's a rest day for John. And then on the 7th of January, which is a Tuesday, we're asking him to do a 3-mile steady run. And also to do the strength training prescribed in strength training routine 1, which would be again prescribed by the coach. And the following week, we can see that we've added some strides to John's schedule. And again, we're asking him to do strength training routine number 1. So let's take this activity as an example. So we've asked John to do 3 miles steady. Once John's completed the activity, he writes the number of miles that he completed in the actual column. So he completed the 3 miles. And he enters how long it took him. So it took John 28 minutes. We asked John to do strength training routine 1. And he's done strength training routine 1. So let's move to another example. On the 21st of January, we asked John to complete a 3-mile steady run with strides, and also to complete strength routine number 1. John did 0 miles that day, so clearly something's gone slightly off track in terms of his training. It's not a disaster, but there's a reason for this, which we would need to find out through some coach-to-coachee contact. Equally, John didn't complete his strength training program, and obviously he's entered 0 in the time column because there was no time for that activity. So in terms of the training schedule structure, as we can see, the training itself would obviously run through to the event, so that's the end of the week beginning the 3rd of March. But as we can see at the moment, only part of the plan is populated. So depending on the length of the plan itself, your coach may complete the plan in its entirety up front and then make adjustments for you as your training progresses, or they may only complete part of your plan initially, which is particularly true for longer plans where there's no point in planning too far in advance because stuff happens and the plan will need to change quite regularly anyway. So let's go back to the 3-mile steady run with strides that we asked John to complete on the 21st of January. So obviously the coach can come in here and have a look at this particular activity and see that it wasn't completed. But how does John tell us why that activity wasn't completed? Well, the simple answer is that this is all done through the training notes tab that we see down the bottom here. So let's flip over to the training notes and we'll go down to the 21st of January, which is the day in question. We can see that John has said that he hasn't completed the training to plan, and that the reason for that is that he's got a bad cold and didn't really feel like training. And because the Runner's Paradise custom training plans are hosted online and accessible by both the coach and coachee, the coach in this instance has picked up John's comment that he has a bad cold, and he's entered his own comment alongside that, which says, when deciding to train, first assess how you feel. If you feel like training and your cold is above the neck, i.e. you've got a blocked nose, high sore throat, etc., then you're okay to do some light training. If you've got a chesty cough or anything below the neck, then you don't want to be training, and you probably want to get yourself down to the doctors as well. So this is the mechanism that we use for communication on a day-to-day basis, training session to training session basis between the coach and the coachee. And that's obviously supported via email contact and through phone and or Skype contact if that's part of the plan that you've purchased. So in terms of entering the training notes, the types of information that we're looking for you to enter are things like, how did the session feel? How long did the run take? Are you sleeping well? How is your nutrition? Do you feel like you're recovering well? And have you got any problems, concerns, including injuries? And then to the right of the coach's notes column, we've got an additional column where the person being coached can enter a link to their RunKeeper, Strava or Endomondo, etc. activity. So if you like to use RunKeeper to monitor your runs and to log your activity, then simply put a link to each of the activities down here, and then your coach can drill down further and view the detail of that activity. And of course, everyone has their favourite activity recording system they like to use. I personally use RunKeeper, someone else may use Strava. So that's the reason that we provide this column here, rather than asking for the information to be entered directly into the plan. The chances are that you've already entered the detail of the activity or uploaded it automatically through your GPS watch or mobile phone. It's already online, so just give us the link to it, and that's the easiest way to work, rather than having you re-entering the information in the custom training plan itself. Then the final tab for us to look at is the coaching summary. So all this provides is, as the name suggests, a summary of the coaching that you as an individual have received as part of your training plan. So in this particular instance, we can see that John has had 3 coaching activities so far. 2 of those have been face-to-face, and 1 of those has been an online coaching activity. There's an opportunity here for the coach to enter any notes that they may want to. So in there you may find details of a session that was covered, any prompts or reminders that the coach wants you to take through into your day-to-day training sessions. And there's also the opportunity as well for customers to enter their comments as well. So how did you find the session? Did you find it useful? Was there something that wasn't covered that you would have liked to have seen covered? Was the session too intense for you? Was it not intense enough? All of those kinds of information can be entered here, so we can continually improve our training program as the months proceed. Okay, so that's an overview of the Runner's Paradise custom training plan. So hopefully you've now got a good feel for how it works, the types of information that you can get out of the plan, and how you can provide feedback to your coach. This information is hosted through Google Docs, so once your training plan has been initially created by your coach, they'll issue you with a URL which will allow you to access the document. Only you and your coach can access the document unless you choose to share that information with someone else. Okay, so that's the end of the walkthrough of our custom training plan. We hope that you found it useful, and if you have any questions, then please don't hesitate to get in contact with us. You can find all the contact information that you need at www.runnersparadise.net.